revisiting the Supermax decision, interrogating the move of Cat Matlala. After our last discussion, it's important to pause, step back, and interrogate this decision properly. Not emotionally, not politically, but intellectually. Because when the state exercises extreme power, like moving a detainee to a supermaximum prison, the public deserves more than a headline. It deserves reasoning. So let's examine this from different angles. First perspective, the civil liberties concern. At face value, moving a remand detainee, someone not yet convicted, to South Africa's most secure prison can feel excessive. Supermax facilities are associated with isolation, restriction, and psychological strain. Critics argue that such conditions should be reserved for convicted offenders, not accused persons still awaiting trial. From this view, the fear is simple, that the state may be overreaching or quietly punishing someone before due process has run its course. In a country with a painful history of abuse of power, that concern is not irrational. It deserves to be taken seriously. Second perspective, the procedural and legal reality. The Department of Correctional Services has made one thing clear: the move is lawful. Under Section 6 of the Correctional Services Act, the National Commissioner is empowered to detain any offender or remand detainee at any facility, regardless of the wording of a warrant. This power exists precisely because risk is not static. Threat levels change, security assessments evolve, and the state is required to respond in real time. Importantly, the department has confirmed that Matlala's legal rights remain intact. Access to lawyers, healthcare, and court appearances has not been restricted. So legally and procedurally, this move sits well within the framework of the law. Third perspective, the security and institutional risk. This is where the discussion becomes uncomfortable, but necessary. Matlala is not an ordinary accused person. He is alleged to be connected to organized criminal syndicates, large-scale procurement fraud, ESIP's tender manipulation, and politically connected networks. These allegations matter because prisons are not sealed bubbles. Influence travels. Orders get relayed. Intimidation happens quietly. From a security standpoint, the question is not whether Matlala is guilty. That is for the courts. The question is whether his presence in a less restrictive facility poses a risk to witnesses, investigations, correctional staff, or even the integrity of the justice system itself. Supermax facilities exist precisely for cases where influence, not violence, is the primary threat. Fourth perspective, the protection argument. There's another angle that often gets ignored. Sometimes extreme security is not just about protecting the state from the detainee, but protecting the detainee from the environment around them. High-profile accused persons with deep knowledge of criminal networks can become targets. Silencing, coercion, or manipulation can occur inside prisons just as easily as outside. From this view, the move to eBongweni may be as much about containment and preservation as it is about control. So where does that leave us? After weighing all perspectives, civil liberties, legal authority, security risk, and institutional protection, a difficult but rational conclusion emerges. The decision to move Matlala appears justified, not as punishment, not as a declaration of guilt, but as a preventative security measure in a system already strained by corruption and compromised trust. In fact, failing to act could have posed a greater risk. The real test, however, is not the transfer itself. The real test is what follows. Will investigations proceed without interference? Will the Madlanga Commission and related processes reach their logical conclusions? Will accountability extend beyond the usual fall guys? Because moving one man to a supermax prison means nothing if the system protecting him or fearing him remains untouched. So yes, after interrogating this decision from all sides, the move makes sense, but it also reminds us of a deeper truth. South Africa does not suffer from a lack of laws. It suffers from a lack of consistent, fearless enforcement. And until that changes, every supermax transfer will continue to feel less like justice and more like damage control. End.